The People's Democratic Party, PDP, is in a dilemma over who leads the party. The prolonged leadership crisis may continue until the fate of its suspended national chairman, Dr. Iyachia Ayu, is determined. Although pressure mounts on Ayu to resign as a matter of sacrifice and withdraw his court case, he has kept the party in suspense. But ahead of the National Executive Committee meeting on April 18, members who are faced with two options if Ayu remains adamant. Option 1, allow the Deputy National Chairman, Umar Damagu from Yobe State, to continue as acting chairman. Or Option 2, pick one of the chairmanship aspirants from the North Central Zone in an acting capacity. For now, those interested from the North Central are Senator Gabriel Suswam and Dr. Emmanuel Agbo, both from Benue State, and former Minister Humphrey Abba from Kogi State. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Shegu Showumi, former spokesman of the Atiku campaign organization. He has also thrown his heart into the ring to contest for the party's top job. You're welcome, Mr. Showumi. Thanks for joining us on Arise Prime Time.
It's nice to be here, Constance.
So your party, arguably one of the most established.
Most established.
Since 1999, the return to democracy, is in the middle of a firestorm, if I may use that word. As a long-standing member of the party, you can see the revolt that is going on. How does this make you feel?
Well, first I'll say thank you. We are indeed the most established, long-standing party in this country, in this republic. And because we are a democratic institution, we allow for free joining, free living, people having the opportunity to ventilate their opinions, to hold views, to aspire, to contest, and to freely be able to exercise constitutional rights guaranteed to them by the Nigerian Constitution and the principles of participatory democracy. It is normal that in that kind of environment, given our history and the boisterous nature of the Nigerian spirit, things can sometimes be a bit energetic. But having said that, the challenge we have today comes from the fact that Benue,
we're going to get to that.
Okay.
I just want to have your general feeling.
Well, I don't like the fact that we're struggling with a headroom instead of stabilizing as, anchoring. But I think that the NEC will offer us that opportunity to anchor. A party doesn't anchor because it agrees with me or I agree with you. A party anchors because it stays on its rules, its regulations, and its constitution. And once you anchor, then the remaining gets easy. So I'll just say the day of the NEC is a great day for us. It's a make or man NEC. It's an opportunity for them to say, okay, this is the position or this is the position, rather than just philandering all over the place without some clear positions. And our constitution doesn't allow that anyway. Before
we speak about the NEC, you have been quoted recently of saying that you are disappointed with former leaders like President Olusegun Obasanjo and former President Goodluck Jonathan as founding members who have not intervened in this crisis. What specifically do you expect them to do? Thank you.
You see, I expect that given the fact that an African democratic institution like ours is 25 years old now, we have the challenge in Africa of building institutions that can last. And I then felt that if the nerves are like this, there is some room for higher level mediation just to cool all tendencies down and try to bring people to be a bit more reasonable with themselves and to speak to themselves as against themselves. And I then felt that for those two that I mentioned, they're not the only ones in that category. I felt that they ought to be very concerned that an institution that has given them the possibility of becoming president here will be, dealing with these issues, and they'll be mooted and acting like absentee landlord. And they don't seem to get that I'm saying that what are we going to gain if it goes under, especially when they're still standing and they're alive.
You do know, though, that former President Olusegun Obasanjo publicly tore his PDP membership card. And
no, it didn't matter that.
Yeah, let me finish.
Yeah, hurry.
In 2023, he also supported the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. So tearing his membership card is apparently an indication that he was fed up with the shenanigans in the party.
I take objection to the use of the word shenanigan.
You might be expecting too much from him.
No, I take objection to the use of the word shenanigan. There are no shenanigans in the party. Some people, if they don't have their way, they want it to be the highway. You have to remember that the same man who did that also supported the party candidate Atiku Abubakar very much in 2019, and it was PDP. And he supported Peter Obi as well recently. It removed the fact that for us to call him a former democratic president in this country, we're referring to the opportunity and the privilege granted him as a member of this party and a founding father. I don't expect him to start getting into everyday nuances. I don't expect him to come back into the party and start holding meetings. But I expect him to use, if he goes all over Africa looking to solve people's problems, why will he not go here and go bend backward over and see how he can just get them to save that institution? And if that be the excuse for Obasanjo, what would then be the excuse for Jonathan?
Yes, Jonathan, a little bit different. Obasanjo is much older.
I know.
He's done his bit in Nigeria. So,
I like that, but when he wants to support Labour Party and obedient, he's not done his bit in Nigeria.
Correct.
Exactly. So my point is that I wasn't asking him to come and do anything over the top. I was just saying that you can't be watching this and not kind of like make phone calls at the back and tell people, gentlemen, please calm down. He still has some persuasive influence. He can still speak to people. He can persuade them to see the bigger picture in building to last. That we lost an election, we ruled for 16 years. Some guys are just there now for going to 9 years. We can't be so, all over the place because of that. They had to manage themselves for 16 years when we were in charge. And if you're alive and you're seeing this institution, dealing with these issues, if I were in his shoes, I'd be making phone calls to people to tell them, gentlemen, calm down. Do not throw the baby with the bathwater. So
talking about leadership and building institutions, very important. You still have other leaders in the party. Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Because some see him as someone who lives outside the country and then during elections he returns. At this critical point in the party, what is he doing? You must be aware.
Yeah,
he does have a role to play.
You don't know. You're making some points as to whether he has a role to play. He does have a role to play, and he's playing those roles. People like Atiku have to deal with the complex issues of not throwing their weight around too much, especially when they're still actively involved in the play. So what you see Atiku do with his style is take on the ability to listen more, and then hopefully lead them quietly by saying, okay, gentlemen, what do you want us to do now? How do we do this? Because Atiku has to manage the complexity of being an institution in the democratic space and still being an active player in the midst of young people. So don't blame him for not, being garrulous and just throwing inflections. No, he can't do that. That's not what is expected of a leader. He has to step back a bit, try to persuade people at the back end, try to tell people, okay, what do you want us to do? How do we do it? But all that talk about he goes abroad and comes back and all that, it's quite offensive. People are expected to have an alternative lifestyle apart from just sitting down and playing politics all the time. When you run an election in our country and all of the issues involved, the cost and all of that, you deserve to rest. You deserve to recalibrate your resources. You deserve to look at things dispassionately. You deserve some more research and all that. And there's no law in Nigeria that says that you can't actually live in Ghana and operate from Nigeria.
Of course, there's no law.
Exactly.
Aren't there places or other states to rest in Nigeria? Because this is like
a pattern, right?
Yeah, among our political leaders.
No. See, let's not flog a dead horse or insist that rights that are privileges granted people, they can't enjoy. If the right is granted you and the privilege is granted you, you can enjoy it. You may have an issue with saying, hey, why are you not in Obudu? But I can tell you for free, before he traveled, I visited him in Jada. And I was amazed at the kind of resource effort he has put in that place. So I think he just thinks that sometimes it's good to just leave the space a bit and allow people in the space to breathe. Because people like Atiku are not small like that. If they cough, it has an implication. If they don't cough, it has an implication. If they stand, it has an implication. If they speak, it has an implication. Therefore, he has to be more guarded. That's what I can say. But it's up to Atiku to explain why he keeps doing this anyway.
Going back to the word regulation that you used at the beginning, the party's National Executive Committee meeting is coming up on April 18th.
Yeah.
This is the first in 18 months. This is outside your regulation, outside, it undermines your constitution. Isn't this an indication that you're an unserious party? Some would say that.
You know, I took them to court, almost like forcing this neck. And the reason why was not because I was angry. It's just because I wanted them to quickly get over that hurdle. When a problem exists, sometimes they can want to wait a bit to see whether they can speak to themselves behind the scene. And the longer I dragged on and the conversation was not going here, I thought, okay, the next thing is that let's panel them and try to compel them to follow the dictate of the law of the party that says you are compelled to call a neck. And now I had to go to court to say, guys, this is the right way. I wasn't doing that because I wanted to hate them. I was doing that because I wanted to push them in the right direction for all of us. And now they've gotten the neck. They've now finally agreed that they're going to call the neck. I'm one of the most vindicated and happier person because I've worked very hard for that. Rather than others just talking, carrying rumors and getting angry with themselves, I compel them to come to neck. What do I expect from the neck? It's a beautiful opportunity for all of them to be in one room. Hopefully reduce the temperature among themselves, hug themselves and realize that, okay, what are we going to get with all this unnecessary bickering? Can we just take it easy and close rank? And if there's need for some discipline here and there, they can do it. And I'm admonishing them. I don't expect them to go doing scapegoating of individuals. I expect them to look at the whole issues holistically and take decisions that can make the party anchor. And once they anchor, then we can build on that.
The news from the grapevine is that the NEC meeting is almost like a showdown between Atiku and former minister of the, current minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, because they both are interested in presidential candidacy and let me finish, and they're fighting for the control of the party. Okay. How would you respond to that? You
know, I like the fact that you kind of borrow, you guard and give people robes that they don't deserve. In what capacity will Nyesom Wike wield that kind of power? Except for the fact that grapevine, rumor, beer apologies, excessive gyration and over exaggeration of the importance of individuals. He is as present, the serving minister of Nigeria in Abuja, and to his credit, he's doing well. I can see the impact, but that does not extend that much responsibility in managing the party. You have to recognize that the people that are members of NEC, let me give you the type of people there, and then you can then tell me whether you think they're kids that somebody can influence. You have the Senate caucus. These are senators of the Federal Republic. You have the Rep caucus. These are elected representatives of the people. You have the governors of the governors that are members of the party. These are governors and executive members of state, people who control life and death in their state. They have the right to even, kind of like forgive death sentences. You're going to have chairmen of party structures in the 36 states. You're going to have members of the BOT. These are the type of people that make up NEC. That was why we were calling for that NEC. Because I know and we all know that the members of the NEC are not the type of people you can say someone has bribed. And we must be, we must be measured, we must be political and democratic enough to accept outcomes. Once they get into that NEC, the way it will be is that the acting national chairman will open the NEC, and then everybody will start talking depending on their caucuses. If they have an issue they're going to agree on, and all of them will say, yay, that's the law. If they have an issue they have to put to vote, they are statutory members of our NEC by our constitution that have voting power. They'll count the votes, and the majority will have the way. But what I do not like, and I really truly beg, is that I don't like the fact that if the chicken doesn't crow in the morning, you guys mentioned Wike, why, how? If somebody is upset, there are governors in this party. His state even has a serving governor right now. That state has produced a lot of governors who were very powerful in PDP. This excessive, I even think you're victimizing Wike.
Okay, so
I think you're victimizing him. But for Atiku,
let me come in there. Wike is a minister serving under APC and is still a card-carrying member of the PDP. Should he be at that NEC meeting or even be invited?
You see, this is part of the reasons why people like us ask for reform. Yes, you saw Wike wrote a letter saying he's been invited to come and form government with the ruling party. In, if you like, disciplined party member loyalty, he says, I am not leaving the party, I am only serving the country. What I would have expected those in charge of the NWC to write in is to say, thank you very much. We acknowledge the fact you have been invited to come and serve. Please go there and be a good representative of all of the best capacity and attributes of our party, some of which is trained, and then tell him we're freezing your membership until you are done with that. And then tell him what the consequence of a freeze mean. It will mean you're not in charge of our party structure in Rivers. You can't attend our NEC meetings because you can't serve two masters at the same time. You can't be all those rights and privileges you would normally get if you were not on sabbatical. We'll freeze it. And if we spoke like that and wrote like that and made it clear like that, and then we can then transfer the authority of the party leadership in his state to a serving governor, because in the first instance, the only reason why we even came about that responsibility was because he was a governor. And we have a culture in Nigeria, even our rivals APC follow the same culture. The governor of the state is the leader of the party in the state. We wouldn't need to have this complicated, unending conversation, Wike this, Wike that, Wike this, if people have just been a little bit more creative.
But you are aware that he is in possession of a court document
that says
that says the party cannot suspend him or something like that. It
looks
like your party.
Look. There's something called the doctrine of necessity. Only thinking men can lead. You can't be thinking with your belly. You have to think with your brain. I use the word freeze so that it's like you're in a university and you tell them I'm going on sabbatical to another university. Nobody expects you while you're in the other university to come and start getting into day-to-day running of the other party. But if you don't write it properly, there could be a tendency to think that, oh, while he's in APC having meetings with the president of APC and the members of APC every day, he's expected to also start playing some role in the PDP. That's not right. No dog can guard two houses at the same time. And I think that it's even complicated for him because it's neither here nor there. And when they accuse him of stuff, he has to say it in a guarded manner. Is he supposed to be supporting PDP and be disloyal to the people that gave him a job? Or is he supposed to be supporting APC and be disloyal to his party? You got to take a decision, man. If you're going to be in PDP, maybe you have to tell them, okay, guys, I've shown you my brilliance. I know I can do the job. We've done it better than any other person that has been FCT chairman before me. I'm done. I'm going back to my party. Or you're going to say, PDP, adios amigos, it was nice while it lasted. I'm going to APC, then it'll be gone. You can't. Some of the conversations that's happening here is because of the personality that's involved. Any other person, they won't even talk about him for 2 days.
When will the PDP embark on an overhaul of the party to ensure that you have quite a substantial number of younger people? I think the party seems a little bit jaded. Don't you think so?
Welcome to why I'm running. Welcome to why young people are asking me to come and be national chairman. The part of the reason why they're asking me to do that is because they hear the message. They get that I'm saying we need to reform. They get that I'm saying science must determine our decision. They get that I'm saying that our inclusivity and woman gender issues cannot be persuaded. We can't have only woman leader as a role for a woman. I'm looking for a woman youth leader and stuff like that. You can't have a situation where you are a 25-year-old political party and you're not going to see that there's a need for you now to rewrite your ideological differentiation so that people can even know what is so different about you and your rival. And it cannot be the personality of your presidential candidate. It has to be, this is what we stand for in black and white. And if they don't stand for that, at least you know what you're choosing and why you're choosing. All of this overhaul can only come from the vantage position of the top because you need to grow it from the beginning, from the bottom of the pyramid up. But you don't have that gravitas unless there's that responsibility. And, okay, we're going to go into NEC. If I were them in NEC, what I'll say is that save us all this. Just say, okay, we're giving ourselves 3 months' time. We're doing a new convention so we can look for a proper public secretary, a proper youth leader, a proper everything. And then we can then give ourselves the energy to charge for 2 years. And then hopefully by then we can see who gets thrown up as presidential candidate. But if you want to play about for another couple of months, look for people that are not that interested in wearing the badge of the party until it's time for chairmanship, you're just going to get same of same. And if you change only one man, assuming you assume that Damagun is the problem, then I'll say to you, was that not how you assume Ayu was the problem?
Right.
Was that not how you assume Secondus was the problem? Was that not how you assume Mwazu was the problem? No! The reform you need is institutional, and it has to be overhauled and comprehensive.
All that you've said, speaks to building institutions.
Thank you.
You have also mentioned presidential candidate. So, we heard that Atiku might be running. Are you in support of him running again? This should be, I think, about the 7th attempt at becoming president.
I tell you what, Atiku has not informed me that he's running, and so I will not make those assumptions on his behalf. And I'm not sure Atiku has informed any Nigeria that he's running. He will likely have to inform if he's interested. That's that. The second thing I'll say on that is that the law is clear as to the right to contest and to be voted for, and also to vote for others. It's within his rights. But I think that Atiku knows more than anybody else that the democratic contest does not hamstring everybody for you. You may go to, if you say you want to buy the form, you may buy the form. We could just get there and say, we're zoning our presidency away from you. What are you going to do about that? You can say, okay, we're leaving it open. Go and try your luck. You may go on the field and you may lose. What are you going to do about that? So I think that people are just a bit in a hurry. I think that because Atiku is so larger than life, even if Atiku were to tell them that, okay, I'm not running again, you will still say he's not meaning it, he wants to run. So I think we should not jump the gun. I think we should not put the cart before the horse. I think we should, my opinion, we should settle the issue of the top coach, which is the party that is going to carry us since we don't have independent candidates. And when we're done with that, that process of renewal, re-energizing, reformation would throw up new opportunities. And those new opportunities, I'm excited to see whether other people will just be bold enough. And I'm thinking that the world is changing very fast, All around us, younger people are leading.
Right.
And therefore, there can be some subtle pressure to say, the 1960 generation, thank you, over, out, you've done enough, we want a new generation.
Let's come back to you. You're interested in being the national chairman. You're not young, though.
How do you know that? I'm 55.
You're 55.
You think, am I that old?
Well.
Let me tell you the story. I grew this beard because there was a governor who, because I didn't grow a beard, I thought he was so much older than me. And someone told me what he said, which was a little bit nasty, that boy. And I said, how can you call me that boy? We're almost mates, man. Okay, maybe instead of arguing with him, I just grow a beard so he knows that I'm not that young.
Okay,
and so the point I'm making is that I'm not the type of person who says it has to be me or nobody else. No. I just listen to the fact that young people really want a new party. They want a fresh party. And I'm resisting the urge to leave the PDP, to be honest.
Right.
There are a lot of people in this country who are very young. People are rooting for Peter and all of that, who keep saying that, oh, Segun, just let's get out of there. Let's create our own party. Let's run with it and all that. And I'm trying to tell them, okay, I get your enthusiasm for that. We may end up doing that. But let us try as much as possible to build to last.
But
this 25-year-old party, even if we all emptied ourselves out of it, we're going to still be stuck with this same problem 10 years down the line.
You do know that the chairmanship is zoned to the North Central Zone. How will you be able to convince the party that it has to shift to your zone, the Southwest?
First of all, I think that it doesn't beg a lot of convincing. They have to make up their mind what exactly is their best interest and what they think is right. You can't be looking at light-footed people that can, bring energy. The dog has to have the fight before he can fight. If they insist on, status quo, of course we'll respect status quo, but we're telling them in very clear terms, the southwestern part of this country, of our party, have never produced the chairmanship of this party. And we have a right to say we want to produce it. Over and above that, for the purpose of our own structure for president, the only part that I think cannot come and start telling us they want to be president in 2027 is the Southwest, because it will amount to cleverly wanting to be Southwest, wanting to be president for 12 years. So it therefore means that we must say, okay, Southwest, take the chairmanship. All the other 5 zones, go try your luck, produce one presidential candidate per zone, and then we'll look at it again until we decide where we're going. But if they want to do same of same, pretend that all is well, assume that only Damagun is not good, but all the others are perfect, their public secretary is perfect, the secretary of the party is perfect, and the youth leader is perfect, hey, who am I to break sweat? But at least Nigerians and lovers of our party who have known me for 1998 shouting and screaming on this party will know that I pushed them hard. They should even come and thank me that they're even having the neck.
Right.
All of them were just sitting down there, just, gossiping, getting angry, adding more problem, speaking in ways that do not reconcile them until I forced the snake.
You said, and I quote, "We were in power for 16 years, so we don't have to be overly angry because another party has been there for 9 years. I think we could improve ourselves because we have a better opportunity even to prepare and become serious." How's that going? Terribly.
It's going extremely well. You see,
Really?
let me tell you why.
Really?
Listen why it's going well. Do you know what it means for you to have like Nigerians with all our energy, our can-do spirit, our vibe and all that in a political party and then still allow it to be democratic? Do you think it is normal that people are in a political party and one man says the candidate is A and everybody goes to sleep? That's not normal. That's not democracy. That's not the type of democracy that we know. And one man cannot pretend over the suffrage and the will of everybody forever and ever. It's only a matter of time before everything blows up. All of these things you are seeing with PDP is because we are the democratic institution that gives birth to other party. We gave birth to them. Your Senate president, we gave birth to him. You remember Akpabio, former minority leader, former governor? We gave birth to them.
He doesn't exactly have a fantastic profile.
But he's the Senate president now.
Yes.
And I don't think, listen, with due respect, I think that the problem that Akpabio has, to be honest, is that he doesn't have good handlers, but he's a fantastic human being. He's a brilliant politician. He's very clever. You need to go to Akwa Ibom and see the footprint of his work there. Don't begrudge him of that. The fact that people are shouting over somebody's head does not mean that there's no core there. I can tell you for free that Akpabio's core is super brilliant. He only needs help. And maybe if he wasn't in that party, maybe he'll get the kind of help we can give him. Also, do you remember that Peter Obi was our vice presidential candidate just a couple of weeks ago? And look at how phenomenal he's behaving. So we can tell you for free, we are the most democratic institution, political party in this country, and we've been around for 25 years.
However, as an opposition party, a lot of Nigerians will say that the PDP has performed woefully.
I don't agree. I'll just tell you what. I like the way we're having this conversation, moderator. People think that what represents good opposition is emptying the people of the country into the streets and doing protests, we no go agree and all that. But listen, a responsible party that feels and knows how easily things can blow over will not even go that route now. Why? Look at the fringes of the country. The APC can barely even manage to keep the peace. There's a lot of hunger, a lot of anger, a lot of desperation in the land. Do you know what it takes for us to just hem it all in and let's have it conversational and not operational? We no go agree, we no go agree like they were doing. Do you know what it's like for us not to be going all over the world, demarketing the party and the country like they were doing? We're far more responsible than them. You know why? Because we're older than them as a political party. We're more mature than them as a political party. We get that democracy must be preserved. Leave them to their cacophony. The things we told them let us do, remove subsidy in a staggered manner, they've done it in a haphazard manner. They've come now to say that we should be putting up fridges. Soon they're going to tell us to start putting out the light when we're going out and start closing out. You know, all these things are not working. We believe, can you imagine this? We brought education and made it a social good by insisting that the first 9 years is free, basic education, and we did university and we paid, we managed to do. You know what they're doing now? They've converted education into a public-private partnership, telling everybody you got to take a loan to go to school. And these are guys that got free education and even got international scholarship from Nigeria. Look, there's a marked difference between us and them. We are pro-Nigeria. We are pro-life. We're pro-everybody. We're the party that says the poor has a right to be part of this country and they can aspire. You know who they are? They're a party of cronyism, prebendalism of the highest order, and clique culture, where almost everything they do comes from one small corner of Lagos, where the one small set of people in that Lagos are the one set of people that get all the privileges. But that's how they are, and we can't help them with that. But we're not like that.
Let's go back to your interest in chairmanship.
Wow.
What would you do differently? Do you think that what happened in Senegal can happen here?
Let me tell you what. One of the reasons why I'm not even why I'm not saying we should now start doing presidency, I will do that one day, is because of the Igbo question. I feel that I'm a Yoruba man. I will run for president one day. Take that to the bank, God's willing. But I feel that how do we explain to ourselves that our Southeastern brothers, who are partners of this process before we got 6 zones, have not produced president, and then the Yorubas will keep saying that? No, I don't believe that. So I think that we'll wait for the Igbos. We'll try and push them as much, and I hope they will also take it easy. And let's try and, conspire to make them get the villa once, so we can remove the need to be looking for zonal presidency. And then phenomenal guys like me can say, okay, we're running for president. But as for the chairmanship, by whiskers, I'm the best material they've got. Wow. And I will hope that they can see it as well. But if they can't see it, I can help them.
Well, that's a
Sometimes
good place.
Life is difficult for the blind.
That's a good place to leave it. Sowun, thank you for being on Arise Prime Time.
I enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me.